Hello and welcome to the Caymanas Park Highlight Show. In this week's edition, we'll review select races from Saturday, July 8 and Sunday, July 9. This included the Knutsford Park Cup as well as the Henry George Harrison Memorial Cup, which were both contested on Saturday. Meanwhile, on Sunday, there was another edition of the John Clifton Wright Memorial Cup. Let's begin our race package with race 6 from Saturday. 11 faced the starter for this non-restricted maiden condition race going 1900 meters. Power from Above was a 6-5 favorite.
1900 meters a trip. Michael Sims is ready, and they're off and racing right away. Caught them in a beautiful line. Power from Above is hustled up, passing the 9 furlong point as they have less than a circuit to run, and it is Steen on that lead. They're really bunching up though. Right there on the rail, that's Richie Rich. In between horses, that is Power from Above. Right behind them and tracking them in fourth, that's Manouche. Coming out wide, that's Lady Karma. Just behind Lady Karma, that is Uncharter and Mr. Senator overtaking Uncharter. And right between horses, that is Home Alone. They pass the 7, head toward the backstretch, and it is Richie Rich taking them toward the 6 furlong point. Richie Rich, just the leader. From right there, Steen settled back in second. Right there in third, that's Lady Karma, overtaken by Mr. Senator, hunting up the leaders. Then come right on the rail, that is Power from Above. 2 lengths away before we come to Sweet Victory. Then Manouche comes next, Home Alone. Then comes Uncharter. On the outside of that, there's Waterman John and Moneybox just racing at the back of the field. They head toward the half mile, and it is Richie Rich bouncing easily on that lead. About a length now from racing in second, that's Steen passing the 4. Then comes Power from Above racing in third. Mr. Senator is right there too. Right there in fifth and coming on, that's Uncharter, Manouche, and racing Waterman John racing together. Then comes Home Alone next. Behind that is Moneybox. Then comes Sweet Victory, and tailing off badly Lady Karma. They're coming to the top of the lane, Richie Rich and Steen. They're fighting for it at the top of the lane. Steen on the outside, Richie Rich on the inside, not given an inch. And now Steen picks up the lead from Richie Rich, but Richie Rich not quitting. Also coming on, that's Uncharter. It's Steen in front of Richie Rich, trying to fight back against the rail. Also coming on, that is Uncharter, but it's Steen in front and begins to get rid of Richie Rich. It's Steen in front and begins to pull away from. It's Power from Above, I should say. Power from Above. It's Power from Above. Sprinting off and winning easily in the end. Power from Above beats Richie Rich on Charter. Then comes Mr. Senator and Manouche.
Power from Above justified the favorites tag to win by 4 3/4 of a length. Second went to Richie Rich, followed by Uncharter, Mr. Senator, and Manouche. Race 7 was a restricted stakes event going 1100 meters. Tevin Foster, having secured victory in race 6 aboard Power from Above, was aboard another favorite in Legit Boss.
And they're off. Almost perfect start. Legit Boss has speed, displays it early. Awesome Anthony driven along with Is That a Fact. Royal Ash is right there, and toward the outside, Volatility. Rejected Raja outsped at the back. They're heading now toward the final half of a mile, and the first into that turn Is That a Fact gets the lead and opens the length over Awesome Anthony. Volatility now comes with a rush on the outside to take second from Awesome Anthony. Legit Boss is further back, so 4.5 lengths off that lead. Royal Ash the Grey on the rail, Rejected Raja now gets going as they make their way flashing past the 5/16th. About to come into the lane Is That a Fact holds the lead right against the fence. Volatility has drifted out wide as they charge away now inside the final 3/16th. Is That a Fact is running powerfully on that lead, getting reminders from the left-hand stick. Legit Boss needs to find 4 or more inside the last furlong. Is That a Fact? An action-packed Rayan Lewis, as usual, he's under a bustling ride. Is That a Fact is running away from them. There's no catching. Is That a Fact? It's a fact that that one has won. Legit Boss is second, Royal Ash is third, Rejected Raja is fourth.
Sent off at odds of 4-1, Is That a Fact, partnered by the impressive Rayan Lewis, romped to victory by 7.5 lengths. Race favourite Legit Boss had to settle for second. Saturday's 8th event was the Knutsford Park Cup. This was contested over 1200 meters with 7 facing the starter.
They're off for the Knutsford Park Cup. Burning Valor gets off a bit awkwardly at the back. Digital Light flashes speed and goes for that lead as they run toward the 5. Loyal Action in chase near the rail. Geolithic on the outside. Burlap races with them. Then comes Pretty Caroline toward the outside. Easy Peasy and Burning Valor yet to recover. Fairly tight grouping of horses arrive at the half mile and go into that turn. Loyal Action has now taken charge on the rail. Burlap in hot pursuit. Geolithic now is urged to get closer as they leave the 7/16. Pretty Caroline just in front of Digital Light. Burning Valor now begins to come at them. And last of all remains Easy Peasy as they're about to leave the 5/16 and come into the lane. A Loyal Action and Burlap up front. These two in a duel for it as they turn for home. Loyal Action just the leader, drifting down toward the rail. A Burlap in the red and the yellow racing out wide of horses, but it is a Loyal Action on the run to the furlong pole who continues to hold them off. Ken Terrific, Tevin have a 3-timer and take the Knutsford Park Cup, and Loyal Action is beginning to draw right away from them. A 16th to run. Doesn't seem as if there'll be any catching this Loyal Action. An impressive and smart win in the Knutsford Park Cup, maybe 7 or more. Burning Valor is second, Geolithic third, Burlap is fourth.
The rest of the field was no match for Loyal Action in the Knutsford Park Cup. Ridden by Tevin Foster for trainer Paul Swaby, Loyal Action secured victory by 8 lengths, clocking 1 minute, 14 and 4/5 of a second, covering 1200 meters. Saturday's nightcap was the Henry George Harrison Senior Memorial Cup. A field of 14 broke from the starting gate, covering 1300 meters.
They're off and racing. Disha breaks badly and was whipped around and will not run. And also missing the break, that's Cotterwood Catty. Airstream has speed, not afraid to show it. Right there too, that's Rosa the Warrior. So Rosa the Warrior, Airstream, and the middle with the whack coming around on the outside. Also there, that's the Exodus. Behind the Exodus and coming out wide, that's Select Me. Behind those, that's Oh So Long. Then comes right against the rail and recovering, that's Rani Bengali. They've passed the 4 and it is Rosa the Warrior just in front of Airstream and Minnie the Whack. These 3 are in tight quarters. Also there, that's the Exodus and Select Me. 2 lengths away before we come to Rani Bangala recovering as they pass the 3. They're coming at the top of the lane and Airstream attacks Rosa the Warrior. Airstream going on just a bit from Rosa the Warrior. Minnie the Whack left back a bit. Also there on the rail and coming around, that's Rani Bengali, but it's Airstream in front. Also coming on the Exodus. This looks like a wild finish, but it's still in front and traveling well. That's Airstream out wide. Minnie the Whack. Airstream is beginning to find another gear. It's Airstream in front. Here comes the Exodus coming on the inside. Airstream tying up a bit. The Exodus comes a calling. Also Rani Bangala is flying on the inside. It's the Exodus and Rani Bangala. Rani Bangala and the Exodus. The Exodus beats Rani Bangala, I think. Then comes Airstream, Select Me, and Minnie the Whack.
Squeezing the victory by only a head, the Exodus, ridden by Anthony Thomas, clocked 1 minute, 23 and 1/5 of a second to come away with the win in this year's Henry George Harrison Senior Memorial Cup. It's now time for a break on the Caymanas Park Highlight Show. When we return, we'll review the highlights from Sunday, July 9. Welcome back to the Caymanas Park Highlight Show. It's time to turn our attention to the highlights from Sunday, July 9. This included Divisions 1 and 2 from the John Clifton Wright Memorial Cup, as well as the day's feature, a 3-year-old and up overnight allowance event. Race 5 is where we'll begin. This was Division 1 of the John Clifton Wright Memorial Cup, contested over 1200 meters. Babla, the mount of apprentice Jawara Stedman, was the 3-5 favorite.
They're off for the John Clifton Wright Memorial Cup. Warhorse now begins a move from the back of the field. Texas Metal, although under a drive, is last as they make their way toward the 5. Uncle Nub shows speed, leaving it with the advantage. Babla and a Nuclear Chaser in pursuit. Just about 3 lengths back to Glittering Magnum in the pink colors. Texas Metal now begins to make a run down against the rail. Warhorse in between runners. A break up 4 back to Roaring Thunder, Adorable J, and Newland Lynx trails. They've left the 7/16th. They're about to arrive at the final three. It's a war up front. The Nuclear Chaser battling Uncle Nub hidden from view on the outside. Babla now asked to kick in wide of horses. Texas Metal now begins to show some speed and asked to make gains, but they'll come into the lane. Uncle Nub in between horses. Babla out 3 wide and Nuclear Chaser the Grey down against the fence, but they drive toward the 3/16th and Babla now picks it up. Uncle Nub continues to fight. Over on the rail, Nuclear Chaser back in third. Toward the outside, Texas Metal has made some ground, but they've got to catch Babla inside the last furlong. It is Babla holding the lead from Nuclear Chaser. Babla and Jawara Stedman continue to keep them at bay. They drive up now inside the final yardage, and Babla will take it. Nuclear Chaser is second. Newland's Link is third. Finishing back in fourth, that's Uncle Nub. Texas Metal is fifth.
2 3/4 lengths was the victory margin as Babla landed Division 1 of the John Clifton Wright Memorial Cup. Babla clocked 1 minute, 18 4/5 of a second, covering 1,200 meters. Race 7 was Division 2 of the John Clifton Wright Memorial Cup. Champion rider Dane Dawkins was aboard the favorite Norblar, sent off at odds of 6 to 5.
They're off for the John Clifton Wright Memorial Cup. Coalition came off slow along with Smart Player just in front of him. Norblar blasts into that early lead. Phenomenal One chasing with Super Alex. Slam Dunk on the outside as they leave the 5. Just about 2 lengths separates that bunch. A break of 4 or more to Captain Philip has to make ground. Here comes Doc coming on the outside. Uncle Sil runs the rail. A gap of 3 or 4 more to Smart Player. And forget Coalition needing a tow truck as they've left the half mile and go flashing now toward the final 3. There's a battle up front, Norblar and Super Alex, these two chasing each other. Slam Dunk in behind them, asked to close the gap. Phenomenal One now making ground and claiming the rail run as they're coming into the top of the lane. And it is Norblar out in front in the white cap as they leave the quarter pole behind them. Super Alex now let loose for the drive. Phenomenal One, the rider, a busy man in behind them with Slam Dunk. Here comes Doc, asked to close over against the rail. But it is Norblar and a devastating Dane Dawkins. He's looking for his second win. He's hoping to take Division 2 of the John Clifton Wright Memorial Cup, but it is Norblar inside the final 16th. Norblar going away from Phenomenal One and the rest. Norblar will win by 5 or more. Phenomenal One is second. Super Alex third. Here comes Doc is fourth. Coalition coming from a bad position has finished in 5th.
Ridden by champion rider Dane Dawkins for trainer Greshford Smith, Norblar secured Division 2 of the John Clifton Wright Memorial Cup, winning in a time of 1 minute, 16 1/5 of a second, covering 1,200 meters. The day's 9th event saw a competitive field of 10 facing the starter. On Captured Empress, the mount of 6-time champion rider Omar Walker was the 6 to 5 favorite.
Field in line, 1,100 meters, 5.5 furlongs. They're off. On Captured Empress, she's a mirage there, the back markers with Sister D. They charge past the 5, Acknowledge Me possesses speed. Joy is Golden now rushes up, and these two heads on battling as they arrive at the half-mile marker. And Joy is Golden now gets that lead over Acknowledge Me, left a length and a piece back in second. 3 lengths back to Epic. Fly Blue Jet is right there, Piggly Wiggly hidden from view. Sister D has made good progress on Captured Empress in behind as they leave the 3. Mrs. Lindhurst races ahead of the Love of God, and she's a mirage planted at the back as they leave the 5/16th, about to come into the top of the lane, and Acknowledge Me has now taken charge. Joy is a Golden left back on the rail. Acknowledge Me now under a bustling ride. The stick comes out in the left hand, and Acknowledge Me continues to sprint on that lead, opening up daylight. Joy is Golden, best of the rest at the moment. Sister D asked to come on with Fly Blue Jet. On Captured Empress is down on the rail, but Acknowledge Me is not for stopping. Inside the final 16th, it is Acknowledge Me and Bebito Harvey making short work of them. They win by maybe 8. On Captured Empress is second. Sister D third. Joy's Golden looks to be just 4th over Fly Blue Jet.
As he did in last year's edition of the Mute Mile, jockey Bebito Harvey stole the show to secure Saturday's penultimate event aboard Acknowledge Me for trainer Michael Thomas. The day's final event was a 3-year-old and up overnight allowance contest. Brinks, known as the Money Truck, was heavily fancied and was sent off as an even money favorite.
They're off and racing. Coming out a bit slow, that is Regal and Royal and Umrun, as Alexa's Lodge wants that lead. Brinks hounding on the outside, right against the inside. That is Power. Also in the mix, that is Freedom Street. Power Ranking, though rushing up as they go past the 5. Power Ranking and Freedom Street. Alexa's Lodge right there too. Bring Settle back right beside Power in 4th and 5th. Then comes tacking on to the tail, that's Champion Bubbler. Luxor comes next, 4 lengths away before we come to Green Gold Rush. Behind Green Gold Rush, that's Outbidder. Then comes John Crow Jeff, overtaking Charming Beauty. Then comes Green Charmer and tailing out badly out of it now. That is Umrun and Regal and Royal. They're at the top of the lane, and this is a stampede on the outside. Just the leader, that is Alexa's Lodge. Alexa's Lodge, but here comes Power Ranking coming in the middle, also coming on. That is Champion Bubbler. Power Ranking now assumes the inside rail. Power Ranking, but also coming on. That's Green Gold Rush. It's Power Ranking in front of Green Gold Rush, really rushing on the inside. Power Ranking, Green Gold Rush has now assumed the lead. It's Green Gold Rush over Power Ranking. Then comes Champion Bubbler, Outbidder, and finishing 5th. That's John Crow Jeff.
It wasn't the Brinks, but a Green Gold Rush that secured Sunday's final event. Ridden by apprentice Jawara Stedman and conditioned by trainer Dalton Sergiu, Green Gold Rush sped to victory in 1 minute, 21 4/5 of a second. It's now time to bring the curtains down on another Caymanas Park highlight show, where there were memorable performances throughout the 2 days of racing. That's it for another edition, and we'll see you next time.